While I have the microphone, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to respond to my friend Dr. Ferguson's comments about giving away our COVID-19 vaccine intellectual property to China, because I was the one person who raised my hand. On the Institute for Health Metrics Evaluation, the most responsible statistician in the world on COVID, suggests that on December 1st, in a few months, we will have had 12 million recorded in excess COVID deaths worldwide. 12 million. More than 1 million in the United States. Worldwide, 2 billion people have had one vaccine. 1.1 billion of those have been Chinese. That means there are 4.3 billion non-Chinese people in the world who have not had one vaccine. Yes, we're doing what we can. I talked to one of the ambassadors from Iraq yesterday. We're sending them 500,000 vaccines. It's good. They have 80 million people, 40 million people. That means we're sending one vaccine, one shot for every 80 people in Iraq, and they're one of our friends, one of our partners. So when does the intellectual property of mRNA become more important than millions and millions and millions of human lives? This is simple morality. Yes, China, it's nice to invoke the boogeyman. Somehow that will scare us into doing this, but as human beings, we have a basic responsibility to care for every life on this planet. And to deny the life-saving vaccine is not immoral, it's more than immoral, it's almost genocidal. And I think that's why President Biden has determined that this vaccine needs to be given to the world at large. China's not 20 years behind us, they're 20 weeks behind us on mRNA. And the thought that somehow advancing biological understanding is going to put America at a disadvantage, I'm sorry, it just boggles my mind. And I am glad that the President has done what he has done. I have no fear that we will be able to compete in China on every possible ways because of who we are. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Mr. Chairman, may I respond?
No.
Okay, can somebody yield me
Somebody
some
going to
time
yield
then?
to you, that's fine.
Let's make sure we follow the
Ferguson.
rules.
Mr. Ferguson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, in responding to the comments here from my dear friend from Virginia, a couple of things I'd like to point out. Number one, I don't think, again, giving our technology to China, our mRNA technology to China, is a wise move. I simply disagree with you on that point on a variety of factors. Number two, giving this vaccine to countries that don't have the capacity and the infrastructure, both from a human infrastructure and a manufacturing and distribution infrastructure in place, simply puts at risk this technology. Let me say this, it will take years to build the manufacturing capacity in these countries. It will take years to train the workforce in these countries. It will take years to build out the logistics and distribution network in these countries. And what we are doing is setting a very dangerous precedent that when we, as Americans and our and our researchers and our developers develop something as important as this vaccine, that we're going to give it, we're going to take their intellectual property and give it away. We will put at risk companies innovating here in America. What incentive do they have if all of a sudden their intellectual property is taken from them by the government and given to someone else? That is what is at risk here. It is not a wise policy. I respectfully disagree with you on that. And if we want to produce more vaccine here and you believe that the moral thing to do is to produce it here and give it around the world, you know, we can have that discussion. But to take and give the Chinese our intellectual property, I think is a mistake, and I think it's short-sighted to think that putting that information out there is going to result in more vaccines in a quicker fashion because the countries simply do not have the manufacturing and distribution capacity. With that, I'll